Well, good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be an exciting daily cryptocurrency market update. What a 24 hours it has been. The main focus of this update, of course, is going to be on Binance and what's happening with CZ. I'm also going to be sharing my own, perhaps unpopular opinion, and it's an opinion that we've had throughout this entire bear market, given a lot of the kind of what we would call FUD that Binance and CZ have received. You know, we've actually really supported CZ on this channel, and we've said that, in our opinion, he's a net positive for the crypto space. And really, I think what CZ is guilty of is not being controlled and outside the grasp of the United States government. So we are going to be getting into that predominantly in this video. We will be covering the markets towards the latter half of the video. It's very interesting, despite this news, that actually Bitcoin looked technically ready for a bit of a rest after doing so much, along with many of the altcoins. Many of your altcoins ran into key levels of significance. So did Bitcoin. It ran into that nice little bit of volume for the first time, if we look at volume by price, which we're going to go into. And actually, technically, our view on the markets hasn't changed. I don't think this changes the markets in the direction we think they're going to go in at all. However, you know, you do have people asking questions like, is the market going to crash as a result of this? Is Binance, you know, what's happening with Binance? And hopefully we can answer some of those questions during and throughout this video. But really where I want to start is with the DOJ's statement, opening statement yesterday in regards to Binance and CZ and what they're accusing him of. So let's not waste any time, guys, and let's get straight into that.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm joined today by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and CFTC Chairman Russ Benham. We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, and from its founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, also known as CZ. Separate from the criminal enforcement actions, the Justice Department is announcing today Secretary Yellen and Chairman Benham will also announce civil regulatory enforcement actions, and the Treasury Department and the CFTC are taking against Binance. While criminal and civil enforcement actions are subject to different legal standards, this collective effort represents the whole of government approach that we are taking to combat corporate crime. Binance has agreed to plead guilty to willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act, knowingly failing to register as a money transmitting business, and willfully violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. These laws ensure that our financial institutions are not available to designated terrorist organizations, drug traffickers, and sanctioned nation states that threaten public safety and our national security. The Justice Department is requiring Binance to pay $4.3 billion in penalties and forfeitures. This is one of the largest penalties we have ever obtained from a corporate defendant in a criminal matter. The Justice Department is also imposing a monitorship as well as reporting requirements on Binance as part of today's resolution. Moving forward, Binance must file the suspicious activity reports that were required by law. The company is required to review past transactions and report suspicious activity to federal authorities. This will advance our criminal investigations into malicious cyber activity and terrorism fundraising, including the use of cryptocurrency exchanges to support groups such as Hamas. While this historic plea is an important measure of accountability, we know that corporations only act through the individuals who run them. That is why we have also filed a felony charge against and secured a guilty plea from Changpeng Zhao for willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act. As CEO of Binance, Zhao willfully violated federal law that requires financial institutions to guard against money laundering and terrorist financing. Zhao, who resides outside of the United States, entered his plea in person in the United States District Court for the Western District of Washington earlier today.
I think we'll leave that there. We could have played the entire thing and done an entire video on what he was being accused of. However, to me, it seems very much so that he's being accused of basically not submitting to the United States government and the agencies that unelected bureaucratic agencies that run and play a role in running the United States government divisions. And they basically said that he didn't comply with anti-money laundering rules and all this stuff. And they brought up things like terrorism, that they have accused Binance of funding and facilitating. Do you really think that CZ knowingly did any of that, or Binance? Do you really think he'd put his entire company and his reputation on the line to do things like that? No, I don't believe so. I believe that this is quite a sad day. In my opinion, Binance is a great company. It's a great crypto exchange. And actually, many of the people in the crypto space right now wouldn't be here without the likes of Binance. He's done amazing things for this entire industry. So has Binance. There would be many projects out there that wouldn't exist without Binance. CZ has and is an amazing success story. He went from flipping burgers to being one of the richest men in the world. And the United States have really just got him on technicalities. And ultimately, I really asked myself the question, what has Binance and CZ done to their users? They've done nothing but honor every single withdrawal, try and be as transparent as possible, and as open as possible. And it amazes me that all the frauds, all the scams that have gone on, Binance and CZ are the ones that they persecute to the tune of $4.3 billion, which is the fourth, I believe, largest sum that the DOJ have gone after ever in the United States history. I think that the top one was Bank of America for $30 billion. And if you look at what these other corporates that sit alongside Binance in terms of penalization, look at what they've done and compare that with Binance. In my opinion, CZ and Binance, the only thing that they're guilty of is not being controlled by the people who control. Let's just leave it at that. And it's a sad day. I genuinely do feel this. I feel sad for CZ. I feel sad for Binance. But what does all this mean? Well, as sad as it is, there are silver linings. If you look at what happened, and the main reason why Gensler hasn't approved a Bitcoin spot ETF, he is continuing to cite the fact that it's manipulated. And actually removing CZ and an entity that exists outside of the United States and that they can't really rein in, although they have done now, it's very likely you're going to get that spot ETF. We knew that regulatory compliance was coming. The United States don't do things in half measures, and they don't do things by working with people. They do things by telling people how it's going to go. And we see that with a lot of the enforcement actions, albeit inefficient in regards to protecting users. It's really not, I don't believe, ultimately about protecting users. It's about enriching themselves and making sure that they stay powerful. And so I do think this speeds up regulatory approval a lot faster than many have been expecting. What does it mean for the industry as a whole? Well, regulatory compliance in the US means that they allow this to get to where it's inevitably going to go, whether we like it or not. This happens with all technologies. They get met with a lot of skepticism, and then they get met with compliance charges, and then it gets approved, and we move to the next stage. But I can't help but feel like this was all about taking out someone that they didn't control. So far, as a result of all this, we have seen over $1 billion of value leave Binance as people are worried about the future of Binance, which we're going to get into in just a second with the new CEO announcing himself. They're asking for $4.3 billion. I can't help but feel like him throwing up the 4 every time there was FUD has kind of led into that figure being the amount. A kind of a complete troll, I believe, on government agencies' accounts. But there was actually a figure of 3.9 billion USDT. If you guys haven't checked out our website, allincrypto.com, please do so. We try and keep everyone up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, as well as what we do on this channel. But Binance's 3.9 billion USDT transferred. Is it the DOJ settlement? In recent financial news, Binance, one of the world's largest crypto exchanges, executed a colossal transfer of $3.9 billion worth of Tether USDT between its wallets. This move, which took place just days before the company was reported to be in settlement talks with the United States Department of Justice, over federal charges has raised eyebrows and sparked widespread speculation in the cryptocurrency community. The transfer executed on the 9th of November 2023 involved moving USDT from Binance's Cold 2 wallet to its Binance 3 wallet. Notably, this transaction was the 8th largest USDT transaction on the Tron blockchain, according to Chain Agros. And you can see we have the transaction here to the tune of $3.9 billion. So I think Shao's pled guilty. I think that Binance is going to pay the amount and likely is going to continue to exist and hopefully thrive on the back end of this, just with the United States having reined them in, basically. And that's what this is all about, guys. Make no mistake about it. This is all about the United States exercising its power. Nothing more, nothing less. This isn't about, in my opinion, what they're accusing him of. This is more about the broader picture, which is the United States making sure that they maintain that dominant stance in the financial realm. And they can't have the largest crypto exchange in the world outside of their control. That's my opinion on it, short and sweet. And, I stand with CZ through and through. Lots of people asking about what Binance and what this means. Well, to maybe help clarify some of this, Richard Teng has tweeted saying, "It is an honor and with the deepest humility that I step into the role of Binance's new CEO. We operate the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume. The trust placed on us by our 150 million users and thousands of employees is a responsibility that I take seriously and hold dear. With CZ and our leadership team support, I have accepted this role so that we can continue to meet and execute the expectations of stakeholders while achieving our core mission, the freedom of money. The foundation on which Binance stands today is stronger than ever. To ensure a bright future, I intend to use everything I've learned over the past 3 decades of financial services and regulatory experience." See what I mean about they've reigned and probably chosen this guy themselves and come up with an agreement that would see this individual become the new CEO, that they've got a kind of, I don't know, a string over, I don't know, to guide our remarkable, innovative and committed team. My focus will be on reassuring users that they can remain confident in our financial strength, security and safety of the company, collaborating with regulators to uphold high standards globally that foster innovation, while providing important consumer protections, working with partners to drive growth and adoption of Web3. We are here to stay. Please lend me your support. Excited for the days ahead. So go ahead and like that. We've retweeted it and, of course, bookmarked it. So that's the situation, guys. Never a dull moment in the crypto space. It's not over for regulations and the battles. We saw Kraken recently get penalized by the SEC again after having already settled. It's not going to be, it's not over. There's going to be a lot more turbulence and kind of hardship likely that comes as a result of it. Again, it's very interesting that in the lawsuit or the application for the spot Bitcoin ETFs, Gensler and the SEC have said, okay, well, our main reason for not bringing it is because we think Bitcoin's price is manipulated, which doesn't even make sense because they allow futures. They even allow leverage futures, not just on Bitcoin, but also on Ethereum. Let's talk about the markets to finish things off, guys. And just to quieten everybody down, because a lot of negativity, people are so negative about all this. Take a chill pill. This is why we champion technical analysis, because it gives us a guide, it gives us a compass to go off of that you don't get with daily news flows. And ultimately, you guys will know that we literally entered the market here. We got out here and we entered here based on things that we teach in our Patreon. If you guys want to find out what I'm buying and where, do consider becoming a member. But we still absolutely assess that this is a market that has broken out. If we look at the total market cap, you can see we've broken out here on volume. And Bitcoin was technically, along with altcoins, due a bit of a rest. It did a very similar thing when it ran into this first little bit of price action here at 30K. It's doing a very similar thing today, round about the 40K region, or just under the 40K region. It's running into its first bit of volume. Had your first bit of volume over here that you struggled to get past. A little bit lighter volume, but still inflated. We did say you'd slice through the 35 upwards towards 35k because there was a real inefficient price action, also a lack of volume, and you can see volume started to pick up. You've ran into some sufficient price action, and ultimately you're having a bit of a rest. Regardless of the news, that was expected. Everything that we've been looking at, all roads lead to Jerusalem, in our opinion, okay? When we look at the stock market, when we look at the historical effects of rates and the market, you know, we believe, and we've had this stance, and everyone is now, so many people, the bears are admitting defeat, so many people that were on the fence are now coming and warming and starting to cite a lot of the things that we've been citing over the past 11 months for our reasoning to continue to be bullish on the markets. We are bulls up until a shitstorm occurs, which could be, you know, end of 2024, start of 2025. We've looked at that from rate effects, the yield curve, and all these other things. But technically, there was absolute reason for Bitcoin to rest here, regardless of the news. There is a positive light on all of this in regards to a quickening of regulations, which ultimately is going to drive this industry. You know, when we look at the likes of gold, gold looks great. Just take all my drawers off here. You know, this is very much setting up for broader continuation. Things like silver look great. When we look at the dollar, it now seems to be in what we're assessing is a bit of a downtrend. Also very ironic how you've had a little bit of dollar strength, a little bit of Bitcoin weakness that transpires into as these are adversely correlated. But we do think this is now in a broader downtrend. Yeah, we're still extremely bullish on the markets, guys. And we just think that it's a case of, you know, sticking with it. We assess the bull markets here. It has been here. And this news actually, if anything, I think is going to further the bull market that's largely going to have a lot of institutional interest and involvement in it. I think this is another classic case of US government asserting its dominance and you know, failing to protect in so many instances and yet going after the one guy that's actually honored and, you know, being very open and transparent. But that's just my take on it. You guys could think I'm totally wrong. I know lots of people think that CZ was to blame for the FTX crash. I don't believe he was. I think, you know, it was going to crash regardless. It was a complete Ponzi and what they were doing was just totally unacceptable. But that's really all we got for you guys. We're still technically very bullish on the markets. We think this doesn't really affect anything. In fact, if anything, it could further the rationale behind being bullish on the markets due to sort of regulatory compliance and the institutions that will get on the back of that and monetize it and use it to further their own endeavors in a controlled manner by the bureaucrats that run the United States. That's all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it, so as a comment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next.